history of All Saints Day. According to Huffington Post Online, All Saints Day, also known as the Feast of All Saints or All Hallows Day, is celebrated every year on November 1st by the Roman Catholic Church and many Protestant denominations like ourselves. And it is celebrated on the first Sunday after Pentecost in Eastern Orthodox churches. The earliest observance of the holiday was recorded in the early 4th century, but it did not get cemented until the early 7th century under Pope Boniface IV, who consecrated Rome's Parthenon to the Virgin Mary and all the martyrs on May 13th of 609 AD. It is Pope Gregory III that made All Saints a holy day in the mid-8th century and then moved it to November 1st. All Saints celebrates all those who have entered heaven, including saints recognized by the Church and those who are not. All Saints is surrounded by holidays from many different religions. All Saints comes just after the pagan holiday of Samhain and the secular holiday of Halloween, which doubles as our Reformation Day. It overlaps with the Mexican cultural celebration Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, and it is directly followed by another Catholic holiday, All Souls Day. It also falls during the Islamic month of Muharram, which they mourn their martyrs. Now, upon hearing this passage, all I can think of is my mother's voice growing up telling me that I need to treat others the way I want to be treated. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Keep up Kate. Always that middle name. Terrifying. Now, my mom isn't an outstandingly religious person. We didn't go to church much growing up, and she always stressed this to me, and I never really understood why. She told me to respect and love others, and that kindness is vital and important. Of course, I didn't know that I was living with these Christian morals. I didn't know these were words from Christ. And I sure didn't know that the passage that precedes this talks about blessing those who are often looked down upon, those who are seen as lesser because they're hungry or poor. So St. Peter, what would it mean to truly see someone as blessed when you see them begging on the street corner? What about someone who shows up for the food pantry empty-handed? What about someone who is weeping on the steps of the church? Although there are many religious holidays around this time of the year, some I mentioned, some I didn't. All Saints, I think, is the most intimate of these holidays. What I find to be the most significant about our Protestant understanding of All Saints' Day is the honoring of anyone. Not just those who have passed on to the church triumphant, not just those who are named, but anyone. Not just those recognized as a saint in the church, just like St. Peter, but anyone. What other service are you invited to come forward and show that there is someone you are remembering, to light a candle in their name? What other church Sunday has the intimacy that it takes to sing a hymn together and share in grief? Today, we read names of people who were not perfect, who may have made us angry while they were living. But these folks have gone after many years on the earth, or possibly a few. But they are remembered. It is these people who are blessed. Blessed are they. The blessed are those who have caught at least a glimpse of God's future and trust that it is for them. The blessed may be poor or needy or even weeping in life by the standards we humans have in our very bones. But they are blessed in both trust in God and in God's future, in their hope of justice and reconciliation. The woeful are those who have forgotten that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The woeful are those who say yes to the question, is that all there is? On this Sunday, Jesus asks us to bless and not curse. We are reminded that all are blessed, not just some. Although some of the blessed have moved on to be with God in her kingdom, we are reminded that we are all children of God. We rejoice in this day and we leap for joy because we are God's children. We are called to remember saints who have gathered around Jesus in every time and place, people with needs and hopes, people who caught just a glimpse of the world more fully God-shaped than the one that we live in. We come from a people and from individual persons to whom we owe much of who we are, and much of who we long to be. As some of you may or may not know, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series this week after 108 years. As some of you may or may not know, I am a huge Cubbies fan. Fans spent hundreds of dollars on tickets just to witness this amazing once-in-a-lifetime event. I had a friend drive all the way to Cleveland, Ohio from northern Iowa just to watch the first game. My mom and my stepdad drove from central Iowa to Chicago, spent approximately 12 hours there for Game 3. The final game, Game 7, was held in Chicago at Wrigley Field and was one roller coaster of a game. After my heartbeat calmed, and I cried, and I celebrated, and I wept on the floor some more, I watched coverage of the postgame. What I saw was folks writing, not graffitiing, but writing names of their loved ones who could not join them for this event. They wrote names of grandmas and grandpas who got them into loving baseball but had passed on years ago, with their hope for the Cubs to win still alive in their children and grandchildren. One man traveled over 600 miles to listen to the game on a radio beside his father's grave, just so Dad could hear the Cubbies win. It was this year, he said. Hearing all these stories and remembering going to Wrigley when I was a kid, it made me think of All Saints. It's not just important for us to remember our loved ones who are now with God, but it is also important for Cubs fans to feel connected with Grandma as they eat their Cracker Jacks together. Saints are honored in different ways by different people. But man, it sure feels nice to have that heartfelt connection again as we light a candle for someone that we maybe haven't thought of in years. Today, I lit a candle for all the people who go unnamed on All Saints Sunday, because they deserve to be remembered too. They are with God in heaven, and they are blessed. Blessed are the nameless. Blessed are the forgotten. As Lutheran Seminary Emeritus Professor Sarah Hendrick writes, as the saints of the past have glimpsed the truth of life in God's world and handed it on to us, so we glimpse that same truth in our calling into God's world, perceiving all God's people, free to acknowledge that our lives and our needs, our safety and our shalom, our peace are in God's hands. We dare to imagine and engage the world in God's name. People of St. Peter, this is an intimate Sunday. Let us dare to imagine the saints loving us from God's kingdom above. And let us celebrate a day